If you think losing fat is the hardest thing, wait till you start building muscle. I say this as someone who got good fat loss results in half the time that it took me to gain any noticeable amount of muscle. In my 2 years of gym training, 1/4 of that only went to fat loss, and I got abs and I looked lean. The rest of that went to bulking and trying to gain muscle. And as you can tell, it's a very slow process. Fat loss just normally happens a lot quicker. Well, if someone is on steroids, then yeah, maybe muscle gain would be just as quick as fat loss. But cheating and bad health aside, unless you're trying to get super aesthetic level leanness like some Ziz stuff, then you're going to need a lot more patience when switching over into a muscle gain phase. Because these are two very different worlds here. If you put the two side by side, here's why I believe generally muscle gain is a lot harder than fat loss on the mind rather than the body. Starting with the diet side, you have to learn to detach emotionally from food. What do I mean? When you're cutting, food becomes a source of happiness. Every meal you savor and enjoy because it makes you happy. No shit, because you probably haven't eaten that much that day. But when gaining muscle, when being in a caloric surplus, eating more than maintenance, eating food is just a task. It's an inconvenience. You have to eat when you're not hungry, which for many people, which in many ways is a struggle for some people. And you have to overcome that and stick it out long term to see the results that you're after. Now, during muscle gain, where are your emotions attached? Well, most likely to the progress that you get in the gym. You find great happiness in hitting a new PR or getting that extra rep or adding that extra plate to the side of your bench, your deadlift, your squat. It means the gain train has arrived and you've hopped on that bitch and ridden it to no end. But then you stumble across some problems and you realize that muscle gain isn't as smooth and linear as you believe it is. The truth is, it gets much harder over time. And for people trying to bulk long term and progressively overloading, pride can get in the way. And you could feel devastated having not made any progress or improved on any lifts. Therefore, you may not see the point of gaining all this weight and you give up. And you see your way out the gym door and you go and eat some junk food and treat yourself and say, I'm on a bulk, as an excuse to eat crap. So the negative mental impact that gym progress during a bulk can have on you shouldn't be understated. And the pressure is on for the bulk to look like you still lift by the end of it, to make sure that you haven't reached too far and gone into a dirty bulk. You have to be calculated. You have to measure your weight gain and not just let loose because you're not in a fat loss phase. So you can just let loose and do whatever on a bulk. I mean, yes, the restrictions are less on a bulk than they are for a diet, but if you bulk to the point where people ask if you even lift, bro, when you've been trying to gain muscle for the past 6-12 months, that sucks. So it's a hassle and you have to refrain from turning into the food that you eat. For me, I'd be fucking trying not to look like vanilla pudding. Maybe you would be, trying not to look like sticky date pudding or some shit, whatever. You get what I mean. So to be sure that you are bulking cleanly and not doing things recklessly, these are my tips that can just ensure that that never happens. Stay in a 250 to 500 calorie surplus when bulking and do not go over that. So start on the lower end, and if your weight plateaus for a few days up to a week, then you can increase your calories slightly. But just so you know, those who go into 1,000 calorie surplus, yes, they gain a lot of muscle, but they also gain a disproportionate amount of fat. So when you gain on a slower rate, so 250 to 500 calorie surplus, the proportion of fat to muscle gain is a lot better. And you'd still end up gaining the same amount of muscle with less fat in the end. I hope this video was eye-opening and broadened your perspective on the difficulties of muscle gain. And if you're already on that path, then don't give up no matter how hard it gets. Remember to be methodic with your goals and how you achieve them. Leave no more lost potential. I'm Nick Steep, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.